I see substance abuse and addiction as a major contributing factor to our homelessness problem here in Spokane. And here's why. One, I head up a long-term faith-based residential recovery program, and nearly 80% of our clients that come to us for help have experienced homelessness. And two, I was homeless myself, off and on for 10 years, and the reason I was homeless was because I chose to be. And I chose to be because I didn't want the responsibility of a job, rent, bills, things like that, because those things got in the way of my drug and alcohol use. I was an addict, but I wasn't always like that. I grew up in a small town just south of here, played sports, football, basketball, worked at my father's grocery store, was an honor roll student, came to Spokane for college, got into a serious relationship, got a decent job, but those things all got in the way of my addiction. I eventually ended up on the streets of Spokane, eating out of garbage cans, rummaging through dumpsters, sleeping under bridges. My life was so consumed with feeding my addiction that I didn't have time for anything else. And I became a thief to support my habit. Now, if you don't know, if you've never experienced addiction, imagine that you're stranded in the wilderness somewhere, in a forest somewhere, say for 30 days. You haven't had anything to eat, you're starving. And you come across a cabin. And you know inside that cabin, there's food. You're going to do whatever it takes to get in that cabin to get that. That's what addiction is like. It takes over that drive to live. So here I am, this small town kid that grew up in the town of Palouse. I'm addicted to meth and heroin. I'm a criminal. I'm homeless on the streets of Spokane. In a million years, that kid from Palouse, I would have never thought that I was going to be homeless on the streets of Spokane. And now that's only my homelessness story. And there are many people on the streets that have very similar stories. Hundreds of people that are trapped in addiction with hardly anything else on their minds except getting that next fix, getting that next drink. They're not interested in finding a job. They're not interested in paying rent somewhere because those things get in the way of addiction. So here's the major problem as I see it, and I will share from my personal experience. Now, it was my poor decisions that got me there, and it was the deception of the drugs and alcohol that got me there. But there were a lot of well-intended people and things that helped keep me there. Every dollar that I panhandled or scammed, I would spend on drugs and alcohol. I didn't have to worry about food because I knew of multiple places that offered free meals throughout the week. I knew where I can get free clothes, free blankets, free sleeping bags. I had a route to different charities that I could go to that would provide all that I needed to survive. And I took pride in that. I took pride in my resourcefulness. But the truth is, they were enabling me to stay stuck in that place. Why would I want to change when I was given all those things that I needed to continue in my homelessness, in my homeless addiction? Charities, state welfare, the city, although well-intended, helped me to be a successful homeless addict. And they are still enabling people to death today. It is an unhealthy, codependent relationship, and the city, the state, and these charities are a part of the problem. So, to finish my story, how I got off the streets was, it was a 20-year substance abuse battle. In and out of jail, treatment numerous times. Altogether, 30 times I was charged with a crime. And each time it was in connection with my substance abuse, my drinking, my using. And it was March of 2011, I got picked up on a felony charge, possession of a stolen motor vehicle. And in jail, for me, it was a spiritual experience. I gave my life to Jesus in jail. That's what saved me, was getting arrested and getting locked up. So I did my 45 days, and I got out. And the first thing I did is I went right back to what I knew. Panhandled, went and got a beer, went to the dope man's house, smoking, doping, thieving, all of that stuff. And now I have this conviction in me. What am I doing? I'm out here thinking that I'm free, doing whatever I want, but I was more free locked up, learning about who I was in Christ, than I am out here doing whatever I want. So I reached out to my family. They helped me get into this program, Adult and Teen Challenge. And that was May of 2011. So for me, consequences were important. They helped, but they weren't enough. I needed compassion. I needed hope. I needed structure. I needed mentorship. So I think an effective solution, one, we need to stop enabling. People aren't going to quit using or change unless they are motivated to quit. People usually don't change unless the pain of staying the same is more than the pain of changing. Getting off drugs is going to be painful. It's going to hurt to detox. Continuing that lifestyle is going to be painful. But if we are enabling, not allowing people to experience that pain, giving them blankets, giving them a sandwich, reducing their criminal charges, people aren't going to change. Consequences in themselves are not enough to keep people clean and sober. Here are 8 things that people need. This is what we need to offer. And I know there's programs in Spokane that offer these, programs like the UGM, Adult and Teen Challenge. People need a safe place to go. People in recovery, they need a safe haven to go to. People need to experience a healthy community with new relationships and support. People to hold them accountable, people to encourage them. And within that community, they need leadership. Leadership that's going to offer accountability. People need education. They need to learn how to live a life free and clean and without the use of the need of drugs or alcohol. So recovery tools, relapse prevention tools. The program I went to, we learned biblical principles so we can learn how to apply those to our lives. People need structure and discipline and guidelines and boundaries and training. I know when I was on the streets, I crossed every boundary. I had no structure. I had no discipline. We need to teach these guys that. And fun. We need to have fun. We need to learn how to have clean and sober fun. Healthy, clean, and sober fun. Also, need to provide opportunities to serve and to give back. Service is a part of recovery. In addiction, you take and you take and you take. And at our program, at Adult and Teen Challenge, when we provide opportunities for our guys to serve in our outreaches, these guys thrive in that. Vocational training. Need to provide vocational training, how to hold down a job, soft skills, how to show up, how to take pride in your work, how to take direction, how to be promoted, how to give direction. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes work can be hard and there can be conflict and it's stressful. And so how to deal with that in a healthy way. If you have conflict with your employer, if you have conflict with a fellow employee. I know the old way of living for the addict and for myself was, that's it, I quit. I'm out of here, I'm going to get loaded. Also, we need to help with job placement and with housing. On the tail end, not up front. So we need to empower people to grow through these things and not just provide handouts. Now, I know a 16-year-old, I'm not going to say his name, but his grandmother has given him a cell phone, a smartphone, ever since he was in middle school. And time and time again, he's lost it, broke it. Grandma has replaced it. But he hasn't understood the value of it because it's been handed to him. He hasn't worked for it. He hasn't earned it. So people need to work for their recovery. It's their recovery. It's hard work. And as someone does that, you grow in dignity and in confidence. The Union Gospel Mission, they have a program. Adult and Teen Challenge, we have a program. The Union Gospel Mission has a rescue mission, so a person can come straight off the streets and right into this rescue program, rescue mission. And they can get put on a waiting list to go into an 18-month long-term recovery program. And from what I understand, they have a waiting list. So what can we do to enable the solution? UGM needs to grow, so there is no waiting list. Adult and Teen Challenge, we have 50 beds. We have 30 students. We only have 30 students. That's 20 beds, 20 people that are out there struggling and suffering that we could help. Faith-based programs cannot be excluded from the solutions. We are a viable solution. In the courts, people are court-ordered to go to treatment, state-certified treatment. That needs to change. Have them come to some of our effective programs. Faith-based recovery needs to be a viable solution, I believe. So to summarize, at my worst, I was living on the streets, sketchy, meth addict, in and out of jail, stealing from people's porches, stealing from department stores, shooting up in bathrooms. But I was also that kid that grew up in the town of Palouse, played sports, worked at my dad's grocery store. But now I'm a husband, a homeowner, a parent, and a contributing member to Spokane. So when you see that person on the street, remember they are a person, and they're full of potential. They are people. They're not projects. It really bugs me when people go out on the streets and do these projects and take these selfies and to see how many likes they can get. These are people, and they need us. So I just want to share that there is hope. That's all I have.